Despite a general lack of trim, we have been living in our kitchen for several months now, and there is a project that's just been sitting out there. If I don't take a day to do it, it's just never gonna get done. That project is under cabinet lighting. We are going to be installing Halo under cabinet lights in this video from start to finish, and by the end of this video, I wanna check that project off my list. In the pantry, I've already knocked one of the 7 out to get my bearings on what we're doing. And if all goes as well as the first one did, this should be a pretty quick project, but I've said that before. Let's talk about the hardware we're using. These are Halo HU30 under cabinet lights. They're 120 volt lights, very simple, sleek looking lights. They're about 3/4 inch thick. They have little daisy chain connectors that can do quick connects to go from one to another. That's what this guy is right here. These models actually have a USB port for charging things, which we have a kitchen iPad, which is kind of handy for that in case we need to charge it, and a selectable color intensity switch. It's got 4 settings, starting at like a bright white daylight all the way down to a 2700 warm setting. We're keeping it on one lower than the daylight right there, 3500K. To deal with the wiring, I just found these in my leftover electrical drawer, just some insulated staples. Let's talk about controls real quick. In the kitchen here, we have all of the under cab lightings coming right back to this switch right here. I think I showed that in our wiring for lighting video. A quick tip if you're roughing in is to not run all of the under cab lightings back to the switch box. It probably won't fit. Instead, what we did was mounted a box underneath the sink. That's this guy right back here, and all of our under cab lights come to this box. They're all just tied together into one line, which goes to our switch. Not only does that keep the switch box decluttered, but if at some point I want to change these out for a low voltage system or something different, I can access the origin of all the wires going to these under cabinet lights all from that box under the sink. I can store a driver there, out of sight, out of mind, and just use the 14 gauge Romex wiring as low voltage wiring if I needed to. But that's just a what if, long-term scenario. In the meantime, these guys are gonna do a great job. There's some pretty interesting options for like LED strip lighting and low voltage stuff to go under cabinet lights. I went the simpler route doing the 120 volt, just standard single unit lights under each cabinet. We don't really have many like super long runs of cabinets where it makes sense to do just one continuous strip. There's actually only 2 places where we're gonna even have a connector, but I still wanna have the option for that down the road if we ever go that route. So this first one should be insanely easy. I'm just gonna have to pop the housing cover off to get to the mounting screw holes, mount it up just like that, centered in the cabinet. But before I do that, I do need to drill one little hole in here, or might even just be a notch actually, to get this daisy chain connector through. These have fairly big ends on them, so I'm not exactly sure if I'll drill a hole that big or what I want to do there. Oh, you know what I just realized? I don't actually have to take this off for mounting. This is just for wiring. All right, that'll save me some time on this one. Somehow missed the obvious mounting holes at either end of the fixture. The excess up here. Yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. The mounting screws are provided for this, and they were doing some thinking when selecting these screws because it is just under a 1/2 inch protrusion out of the back of the fixture, and that is perfect because the bottom of our cabinet is a 1/2 inch thick, so you don't want that screw coming through the bottom. I made a little center mark up here underneath the cabinet, did the same on the light, and in theory, this should be as easy as lining those things up. Hard part's holding it up steady while I get a screw in the darn thing. It's a very good core workout. I'm just gonna tighten these up by hand so they don't get over tightened. I shouldn't even need to switch power off this other one. I'm just gonna plug this in and it should turn on. That is the beauty of the quick connector. Oh, I do have to hit the power switch. Ta-da! And there's our lit up pantry counter. I do like how thin these are because they tuck up underneath the face frame of the cabinet, so you really can't see them unless you're down like this looking upwards. We have all the pantry lights linked to this single switch. We just thought it was more convenient that way. The under cabinets come on at the same time as that can up there and our pendant fixture. Having the separate on-off switches is nice though, in case for some reason you don't want the under cabinet lighting, but I don't see any situation that I would care to not have as much lighting as possible, especially on the countertop surface where you need it. Now let's do one that takes a little bit more thought, where we actually have to deal with this piece of wire coming out of the wall. There's knockouts on both ends and the back of these fixtures, so you can pretty much choose whatever. I'm gonna come in through this end, and they've conveniently put little push-in wagos with one open space in each, black, white, and ground, that we just have to push our Romex into. Super easy. Oh my gosh. All right, once I get this guy in place, I should be able to strip the wire to just the right length and get it stapled in. The face frames on these pre-assembled cabinets are actually deeper than the RTA ones. Oh, you know what? I probably should take that knockout out before I screw this up. Can't get the wire in with this little guy in the way. Slightly unconventional use for a impact adapter. Oh, come on, screw. Ah. Everyone say hi to Elena in the background.
Do you want me to hold it?
Oh, I got it. Getting one side started, then the other. Oh, I like this. I like this little helping hand. All right, I'm gonna dress this cable up so it looks a little bit nicer, staple it up, and then we can figure out where we need to strip it. So that's looking a lot better. I'll staple that up just like that and strip right at that line just inside where my clamp's gonna be. Good old-fashioned Romex stripper. I may have just stripped that screw right there, which then fell out and fell behind the stove. So we're just gonna pretend that wire clamp doesn't exist.
Uh-oh.
What the hell? I just lost power. Oh, it probably didn't like me touching the two together with my hands. The AFCI is so sensitive, it's crazy. Literally, like the switch is off, but if I touch the two together, it senses it. That's wild. Quick breaker reset. And we're back at it with a cap on this hot wire. Well, I thought I didn't need one in the neutral, but I did, and I tripped the breaker again. So we're just gonna plug these in with the lights off. Best practice, of course, is to actually turn the breaker off, but I know where the switch is for this, so should be good. We're in the home stretch now. Can you hit the breaker down there again? Second floor lighting.
What?
Thank goodness for wonderful wives. When she turns that on, the lights should come on in the kitchen here again. And then if I flip the switch, we should be able to test this guy out as well. Kitchen's back on. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! All right, so good news. The wiring worked. Now we just have to repeat this on 2 more areas right now. We have a couple areas I'm gonna have to wait on. I'll explain those in a bit. We still gotta dress this guy up though with some staples. I'm not just gonna let this sit around and dangle out in the wind. These are meant to be shot out of a gun, which I don't have, so hammer it is. Beautiful. And by the magic of Hollywood, the second one is done. That means all that's left in the kitchen for now is this little guy here. This is a 15-inch cabinet, so I'm putting a 9-inch light in it. These come in 9, 18, 24, 36, 48, I think. But this 9-inch fits pretty nicely under here. It scales well with the size of the cabinet. I'm not sure if I'll ever learn my lesson when it comes to tripping these AFCI breakers. This last little light was tough to fit everything in. It took a few tries to get the wires to sit just right so I could get the lid closed. Three, two, one. Ah!
The dog sits up.
Ah! Dog! What do you think of the new lights? What do you think of the new lights? Oh, look at this hound. Oh my gosh, look at you. Puts his nose right in the camera and he's gone. So this cabinet in the corner here, I don't have anything for it yet. My original plan was we're gonna build a floating shelf here in the corner, and that's still the plan. But I was thinking I was gonna bridge the two with one long, like 24-inch light, because that's about what it is. This is an 18-inch cabinet. That's like a 16 or 18-inch floating shelf, so it would probably balance out if I centered it. But what I did not consider was how far this was gonna come down. This is a full 1-inch ledge here that would have to get carved out for at least a rectangle like that big. And there's a nice skin panel on this side of the cabinet that would have to be sacrificed. Now I would be putting the shelf right up to this, so it would be disguised, but I'm not sure exactly how I want to handle that yet. If I want to carve that out, or if I want to do two separate lights, get a 9-inch for here, and then do like an 18-inch under the floating shelf or something. So that one's a project for another day when we have a floating shelf. And so is this one. If you ignore this happy birthday balloon that's sitting here, we have another stub out here over top our dry bar, and this is going to get like a 48-inch long floating shelf on it. So we do have a 48-inch light that's gonna go under that one. That's a really nice looking matte black version. So these come in white and black. We figured we're gonna do the shelf out of like walnut or some sort of dark wood, so the black would go better, even though it's up underneath, so you don't really see the color anyway. But that again is a project for another day when we actually have a floating shelf. So I'll probably do a video just on those shelves, and I'll throw the lights on in that video. So that's under cabinet lighting. Hopefully you took something away from this. It was a pretty simple project here, just a few hours, a couple hiccups, but nothing crazy. Best of luck if you're working on a cabinet project. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.